Returning with the protagonists, we see how through a strange portal, Yuki and Kyoka head off to do some paperwork. So the young man decided to wait outside the 5th Squad headquarters while thinking about how fast the portals were, as it didn't take them more than 20 minutes to get there. At that moment, Kyoka, dressed very casually, appeared, which impressed the young man, but to play dumb and not let it show, he started mentioning how great it was to return to the normal world, where they both continued walking towards their day off. However, Yuki couldn't stop looking at the commander. As he found her more beautiful dressed that way, she quickly noticed, and Yuki, once again, pretended to be distracted and asked where exactly they were heading. But Kyoka avoided the question and left the young man with the doubt. Meanwhile, in their headquarters in Mato, we see that Shushu was looking for Yuki until Nei ended up revealing that he had gone out that day with the commander. Upon hearing this, Shushu remembered what day it was and understood where they had gone. For that reason, in a cemetery, we see that Kei begins to tell Yuki about an incident from the past. In the Great Mount Gazan, there was something called the Mato accident, where many demonic Shukis managed to enter the human world to seek revenge. And one in particular was very powerful, but the captain knew this story very well, as she had lived through that horrendous moment where a monster with a single horn called the unicorn, yes, very original, wiped out everyone in the village. But the commander was the only survivor, and since then, they never attacked the village again. This was because the anti-demon defense forces took care of the situation, although the latter was not entirely true, as upon reviewing the records, Kyoka discovered that the unicorn managed to escape through the entrance gate of Mato. So Yuki gradually understood more about his commander, who swore that she would tear him apart when she found him. For that reason, she asked the young boy to be ready for when that long-awaited day comes. This was also the reason why she took him to the cemetery, as while paying respects to the fallen, the young boy understood the commander's objective well. But in the middle of their way back to Mato, Yuki asked for a small moment to enjoy a cafe on their way. And although Kyoka knew that patrolling Mato was much more important, upon seeing one of the photos that Yuki found in the comments, she ended up accepting the coffee. So the young man began to tell her the story of how he lost his older sister in an accident in Mato. Thus, he understood a little about his commander and assured her that he would not. It is good to work all day, since doing so would not have energy for when it is really time to fight. All this made Kyoka admit that he is very persuasive when he wants, and right at that moment we see how the famous dessert of the house arrived, so it was time to try it. Kyoka was fascinated with its delicious flavor, but that cute reaction captivated Yuki, who lied again, saying that she only remembered something from the past. But while Kyoka continued enjoying her dessert, and the young man knew that. Seeing her captain smile brought back a memory, since it resembled a lot to the smile of his sister, who as a child was in charge of cooking it for him, since despite how it worked that world, his sister loved him very much. But in the middle of his meal the phone of the eldest started ringing, where a threat was recorded near Mato. So at that moment his break ended and it was time to go back to work, so Yuki ended up using his transformation to get to his base as quickly as possible, thing that was achieved with great success. Even Kyoka was surprised by the speed at which they had arrived, and although she had to change for some reason, she invited the young man to accompany her to her room, thing that the boy did not hesitate to do. But his first order was to help her take off some clothes, although Yuki ended up asking if it was his reward for his ability, which angered Kyoka in a second, since it was clear that she was only fulfilling her part of the contract, and although Yuki did not know why all his rewards were fetishes, he supposed that Kyoka by using it could see something of his memories, so maybe she knew that this was what he really wanted. Anyway, Yuki continued with his reward and began to take off one of Kyoka's stockings, but seeing her reaction, Kyoka confirmed that her user was a tremendous pervert. Anyway, it was time to go back to work, so once changed they went to see the situation, where apparently a discovery had been made during the patrols of that day, where a formation similar to the crater they have in the south had appeared. But the problem is that it seemed full of dangerous Shikis, so all the red dots on the tablet were demons to be eliminated. Still, Kyoka did not understand the reason why so many demons appeared without any reason, but they not only confirmed that there were a lot of them, but also they were not doing anything. They were completely still in that area, but being so many, Kyoka knew that she would have to use all her reach to defeat them, and that includes the excited for the fight of Yuki since he could finally be in another battle. That's how in 3 different vehicles, in which one of them was Yuki, the whole squadron was divided for combat. But knowing the speed of Yuki transformed Kyoka decided to get ahead of the girls to gain some time speed that ended up astonishing the other girls. But Yari still had his personal hatred towards Yuki, so he only disregarded him, and once near the crater we see that it is full of demons, so the boys waited until Sushu arrived, since she with her gigantism would be the best initiator, since Kimari could finish off the rest from a distance. Still, Kyoka did not understand the reason why they did not all merge into one, only since they could do it due to the danger. But at that moment a powerful purple light went straight towards Sushu, even managing to knock her down without much trouble. So upon seeing the responsible, Yuki notices a large horn, same one that his commander told him about. This he brought memories to the commander, but the unicorn didn't waste a second, going straight at Yari, managing to destroy only her vehicle, while we noticed that someone was riding the demon and wouldn't stop, saying that the party was just beginning. To which Yari was only surprised, because demons don't speak, and those words only angered the stranger, who unleashed a powerful ray against the young girl, a ray that even Yari couldn't stop. And although the stranger began to mock her efforts, Kyoka didn't hesitate to take advantage of the moment to try to finish her off, although somehow the stranger managed to mitigate the damage and only watched as Kyoka, with a lot of anger, waged war against the unicorn demon. Even though Kyoka demanded that the stranger introduce herself, she only claimed to be the archenemy of the anti-demon defense forces, while showing a magical peach in her hand, and also asking about her lost brother, as she was searching for him. And while Kyoka wondered what a human was doing with a demon, she was only distracted, which the strangers took advantage of to try to eliminate them. But Yuki mitigated the most damage possible, while the captain went straight against the white-haired girl, who deflected any attack with her own hair, while revealing to the captain that her lost brother was very fond of her, even from a young age. So while they continued in battle and the unicorn demon showed an even greater strength than Yuki's, the albino girl couldn't stop mentioning her cute lost brother and their moments together. But Yuki at that moment seemed more impressed, because the monsters did not stop coming and a giant shui appeared to interrupt the white movie. But this annoyed the unknown woman, who, while getting angry, brought a memory of the past to the protagonist, and with all her hair she managed to defeat the demon in a second, since no one should bother her while talking about her cute little brother. But this ability was ridiculously strong in Deco Bow that opened both Yuki and Kyoka, and while the elven girl fed her beloved unicorn with the rest of the demons, Kyoka ended up thinking that she was facing the supreme commander of the demons, so she went straight into battle against her. Something that would be a bad idea, since the difference in power left the commander and Yuki completely at the mercy of the white movie, who, having Yuki close, realized that he was not a demon. But Kyoka did not take long to come to the rescue, managing to cut one of the girl's arms, and although it was her opportunity, the unicorn did not let her finish so easily with her mistress, so for no reason they started to flee immediately, which caught Kyoka off guard, since what that demon did in the past had to be ADO. But seeing Yuki fighting to protect his squad, the captain quickly calmed down and began to help her friends, since the priority was her squad. So when they returned home, no one ended up seriously injured, and while Yuki had his reward of being trampled in exchange for his power, he revealed to his captain that perhaps the woman they faced could be his sister, since seeing her up close they looked very similar. Not to mention that both were surprised to see each other, which later, while the young man was cooking, he could not help but get distracted, thinking that maybe his sister is still alive. But without knowing how he transformed into a shui, only questions the young man had in his mind, without realizing that his food suffered a little lack of attention, which Ne could not let pass, and as his superior asked him to kneel for a second, which Ne took advantage of to hit him, or so Yuki thought would happen, since in reality Ne only comforted him and thanked him for everything he did for them, in addition to offering to continue cooking for him. But the young man only said he was tired, so while thanking Ne, returned to her work, but this time with the by her side to keep her company. While in the depths of Mato, a woman mocked the same girl who attacked the anti-demon squad, since simple humans were able to hurt her. But thanks to the licks of another demon, we see how the girl's arm fully recovered. But the albino girl assured that she found her lost brother Yuki, and although she did not know how he became a demon or why the anti-demon defense group accepted a man. She would soon be reunited with him, although at that moment Yuki was taking a bath while thinking about how powerful the unicorn was compared to other Shikis. Shushu appeared in his bath to start bothering him and thank him for taking care of her on the battlefield. For that reason she wanted to return the favor with some massages, but Yuki knew it was impossible for her to be there with nothing on, so he turned around to finish kicking her out of the bath, but to his surprise it was true that she was naked, so he ended up running towards the exit where Yari was getting ready for the bath. So the time to run came, and even though the young man's life was in danger and more when he tripped on the way and almost turned into two shoes. A mysterious portal appeared with two strangers, but they were actually members of Squad Number 6, where the commander named Tenka Ismo and the sub-commander in Chijo Asuma introduced themselves, and the commander did not hesitate to approach Kyoka's slave but only to ask him to bring his captain to talk, while Asuma could not stop looking at Yari with hatred.